was heading to Cuba with a cargo of waste paper. He couldn't say the exact quantity of drugs on board, but he knew for certain that it was huge, perhaps more than 3 tons, maybe even 5. He gave me a description of the 2 places where it was concealed deep within the ship, a secret compartment beneath the fresh water tanks at the front, and another somewhere beneath the main cargo hold. The crew knew how to open hidden hatches and get to the coke, and he warned me that it would be difficult to find without their help. The drugs were to be handed over to speedboats, known as go-fasts, the night before the Limerick reached Cuba. The Limerick had a head start of about 13 hours, so I needed to act. Every minute that passed would make it harder to find a small ship in the vast expanse of the Caribbean. And just because it had declared that it was sailing to Havana didn't mean it would go straight there. Often the captains of drug ships told port authorities that they were going in a certain direction to a specified port, then took a different route or went somewhere else to thwart surveillance. I thanked Pacho and punched in the telephone number of Martin, my customs colleague and the British Drug Liaison Officer, or DLO, based in Miami, Florida. Martin and I had worked together on a few cases before. He was a smart, energetic young DLO and got things done. After just 18 months in Miami, he had built up an excellent reputation with the key US agencies. "Martin, I've got an urgent one. It left last night and is heading up to you. It's a dead cert from a really good source and it's big. I need you to pull out all the stops on this one." I gave him all the details I had over the telephone. In later years, this would be strictly forbidden, and we would only ever discuss cases via encrypted sectera phones. But in those days, we had to speak on open lines and just rocker it up, disguising our meaning with jargon as best we could. Had it been less urgent, I could have waited until Monday and used the secure comms at the British Embassy in Bogotá. But I couldn't risk waiting and losing the ship. Within minutes, Martin was on the phone to coordinate action with GTF, the Joint Interagency Task Force South. It was a Sunday, but people worked 24/7 at GTF, the Maritime Coordination Center based in Key West, Florida, where the U.S. Coast Guard, Customs, Drug Enforcement Administration, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and other agencies worked together to combat international drug trafficking. Martin had established a close working relationship with GTF, and they held in highest regard the intelligence that he gave them from Her Majesty's Customs and its network of DLOs. They had learned to trust the quality of our intel, and were willing to act upon it and task expensive resources without question. Within a few hours, a U.S. maritime surveillance plane was taken off from a military airbase in Panama to start a methodical search pattern over the Caribbean Sea north of Barranquilla, scanning the ocean below for the Limerick. Heavy cloud cover made it even harder to find than usual, and it was not until the following day, after several sorties, that a surveillance aircraft spotted the ship and reported back its location, speed, and course. In the Joint Operations Command Center at GTF, a large electronic map on the wall showed the location of all active US and Allied maritime assets in the Caribbean region. The Royal Navy frigate on current duty, known as the West Indies Guard Ship, was shown on the map as patrolling in the Eastern Caribbean, as were vessels of the French and Dutch navies, along with several US Coast Guard and Customs patrol ships. The nearest available law enforcement asset in the region was a US Coast Guard ship in the Gulf of Mexico, but it would take a day or two to reach the target ship. The GTF operations commander ordered it to immediately change course and head as quickly as possible to intercept the Limerick. The events that subsequently unfolded can only be described as chaotic, but would ultimately make international headlines and have a significant impact on US-Cuban relations. The Coast Guard ship was guided by continuous reports on the location, speed, and course of the Limerick from the surveillance aircraft high above. It headed southeast at full speed, deviating from its course at the last minute so that it came upon the Limerick from the rear, to avoid being detected too early. On the 1st of October, the target was intercepted south of Cuba, as it headed northwards just outside territorial waters. The Colombian captain of the Limerick, Francisco Williams May, knew that US military ships could not enter Cuban waters, so when he saw his grey-hulled pursuer approaching, he made a dash to